Following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Art. A to the RT. So many niggas want beef, go to Arby's. Not too many rappers in this game that can stop me feeling cocky. Cause my flow hella stocky. Yeah, and I does this shit. Flow sick, something like when your two cousins kiss. Ill. And y'all niggas know who run this shit. They out of breath. Tell the coach I need 100 bricks. Let me cook them in the oven quick. Take them out when these percussions kick. Yeah, and it was never really a discussion, kids. Trade you to another team like the Russians did. Whoa, what the bitches that be sucking dick? Hit me up, you know I love that shit. Yeah, and it's all go when I touch that bitch. Pass it to me, watch me clutch that shit. Swish, swish.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Trippin Aint Easy. I am your host, Tripp Simpson, in the building.
The first of his name, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm.
That's right. And before we get this show started today, first and foremost, you know we gotta handle business.
I know you're gonna look after family.
What family you talking about, Ice?
Fuck, I look invisible, nigga.
That's right. I am not invisible. So do me a favor. If you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, and select all. If you're watching live on Facebook, hit that like button. Hit that share button. Comment in the comment section below. Help me get this video off into the algorithm. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that business is handled, let's get into tonight's show. It's late, so I want to get started right away. Now, you know, of course, we got our main topic tonight, which is going to be two main topics tonight. The first is going to be this Jonah Hill situation with his ex-girlfriend, the crazy Karen. Her name is Sarah Brady, the surfing instructor who decided to leak private text messages that the two had when they were a couple. And the second main topic of the night is going to be presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy and his recent run these past couple weeks of just burying top liberal pundits. They keep putting this guy in front of people and he keeps knocking them down. Most notably, he was on the Breakfast Club with DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God. They also had another young lady on there. I can't remember her name, but they kind of bought her to be the henchman to get at Vivek, and I don't think it worked. To me, he made them all look pretty silly, but we'll get into that. Before we get into that, I got a Kendra G video that I want to go over. But first and foremost, man, I gotta let y'all know, man, this nigga Willie D, bro, What's up with this nigga Willie D? Willie D from the Ghetto Boys. What is up with this nigga? I'm scrolling through my Instagram reel, maybe like 20 minutes before I started this show, and I just see Willie D saying stupid shit. Stupid shit. Like, I like Willie D. I grew up listening to Willie D and all, but I just don't get it. I don't get it, man. Sometimes he says things that are correct, but a lot of times he is a miss. So, without wasting any more time, let's get into this Willie D video real quick. We're gonna start it off like that. We'll start it off with these silly ass old niggas. No disrespect.
All the woke black folk who love to point out the bad in the black community.
So first off, he using the word woke wrong. So he says this video goes out to all the woke black folks who like to point out the bad in the black community. Now, first off, he's dead wrong, because normally it's the woke folks who make excuses for what goes on in the black community. For the most part, it's the woke folks who make the excuses. So he's already starting off using the wrong terminology. So let's start that over.
All the woke black folk who love to point out the bad in the black community. Y'all think y'all smarter than everybody else. Y'all think y'all better with your condescending talk about how black folks are the only ones to do this. Black folks don't stick together. Man, that's why I don't mess with. Y'all think y'all are actually an asset to the...
First of all, Hit Dogs Holler, he's talking about me. Maybe not personally, but I'm one of them niggas. I talk a lot of shit about niggas. I do. Yes, I do.
Community. You motherfuckers are a detriment because your words have power.
Now, I just want to bring out the hypocrisy in what this man is a whole gangster rapper. Speaking of words having power, you were one of the main influencers of young black men to be in the streets. So now that you're 50 years old, you want to come out and scold the people who criticize the world that you helped shape. This is fucking crazy. Nigga, you were literally a ghetto boy. You got a song called Bitches and Hoes. You got a song called Shoot 'Em Up. And now you want to criticize the people who criticize the culture that you helped cultivate. This shit is mind-blowing to me. Let's continue.
And when you jump out there and highlight the bad in your own race, what do you think that does for your overall plight? Y'all be talking online like everybody else can't hear y'all talking. Black folks ain't the only ones who talk about their own race, but God, you are proficient. You fools. Shut your mouth.
All right, so this is what this guy had to say. Now, what I want to do real quick is, I want to go, and I'm about to pull it up right now. I want to go to a song that Willie D made back in the 90s called Niggas and Flies. It's a song called Niggas and Flies. Hold up, shit. Give me 1 second. Fuck. It's a one-man show. Bear with me. I'm gonna go to the lyrics though. I'm about to pull these lyrics up to the song Niggas and Flies. We're gonna pull that up. But before we pull that up, we're gonna listen to what he said one more time.
Who love to point out the bad in the black community. Y'all think y'all smarter than everybody else. Y'all think y'all better with your condescending talk about how black folks are the only ones to do this. Black folks don't stick together. Man, that's why I don't mess with. Y'all think y'all are actually an asset to the community. You motherfuckers are a detriment because your words have power.
All right, we're gonna stop it right there. And we are going to play the lyrics. Or excuse me, we're not gonna play them. We're gonna read the lyrics to Niggas and Flies by Willie D. The hook goes, niggas and flies, niggas and flies, niggas and mother effing flies. Now, if you don't know, Niggas and Flies is a song that Willie D made that criticizes the dumb shit that niggas do. So let's read this. Niggas and flies, always in some shit. Nigga can't stay out of shit for shit. Nigga robbed the bank, now everybody know. Cause the nigga had a Rolls Royce flipping through the ghetto. Nigga bought his hoe a fur coat the next week, and the laws had his ass walking butt naked down the street. You want drama? Nigga, I got some drama. What about these niggas driving Beamers living with their mama? I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with that song, but he goes through the whole song dragging niggas, talking about the things niggas do that are unacceptable. Let's keep going. We're not gonna go easy on this dude, man. All right. It says, what about these tennis shoe chasing bitches? Fucking athletes to obtain their riches. But they hate it when a nigga call them hoes and tramps and sluts. But if the shoe fits, lace it up. Niggas ain't good for shit but eating barbecue.
Blood clot.
And holding other niggas back. That's all we do. Niggas annoy me like flies. If it was up to me, I'd burn a gang of you hoes alive. If it was up to him, he would burn a gang of niggas alive. Now we just read those lyrics. Let's go back one more time, because this shit is crazy to me. Let's go back one more time.
Love to point out the bad in the black community. Y'all think y'all smarter than everybody else. Y'all think y'all better with your condescending talk about how black folks are the only ones that do this. Black folks don't stick together. Man, that's why I don't mess with. Y'all think y'all are actually an asset to the community. You mother are a detriment because your words have power.
And I quote, niggas ain't good for shit but eating barbecue and holding other niggas back, that's all we do. Niggas annoy me like flies. If it was up to me, I'd burn a gang of you hoes alive. Willie D. You can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. All of a sudden, Willie D is above. All of a sudden, he forgot about all the music he made in the 90s and late 80s. Almost everything he made was about being a degenerate young man fucking up your own neighborhood, living in the ghetto and doing ghetto shit. And now that he's 50 years old and he's trying to play the pro-black role, that's how he's getting his bag now, being pro-black. Now, people who do what he did in his music to even get on the scene, now that's wrong. Well, Willie D, with all due respect, I really don't give a fuck about your opinion. I talk shit about my community because we need a fucking reality check for the shit that you helped influence. So in my opinion, you don't have any right to tell anybody what to say about anything. If anything, you need to be apologizing for some of the music that you put out there. Because in more ways than one, you're responsible for the mess that we have now. Because you were one of the forefathers of gangster rap. Because drill music and all this trap shit, all that shit came from the shit you did. That shit started with you. So yeah. All right, that's enough of Willie D, man. I had to get that off my chest, man. I could not fucking believe I saw that post. I'm like, this nigga, this is the last Negro that needs to be talking about what anybody has to say in regards to black people. It's the last Negro. All right, let's get on to this next topic. All right, this next topic, we got a clip from the Kendra G show. Let me get this up. And if anybody's not familiar, Kendra G is a Instagrammer / YouTuber / media personality. That she came up doing, she was on the news or something like that in Chicago, and the radio in Chicago. And then she started going live on Instagram, and her shit blew up. Now, I actually know Kendra personally. I met her in DR. My wife and I met her in DR on a group travel trip. She's actually a pretty cool person. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of her views on relationships, but it's just a disagreement on that. I don't have anything against her personally. I actually like her. I think she's a cool person in real life. A lot of niggas on the internet hate her. I don't hate her. I think she's cool. Like I said, I hung out with her several times. Good people. I don't like what she had to say about Kevin Samuels, but it is what it is. That's her opinion. But this particular show, the guy she had on had some very interesting things to say about the dating pool. So we're gonna play what he has to say right here.
Single, 44 years old. So all y'all women out here.
Let's start it over.
6 feet tall. I'm still single, 44 years old. So all y'all women out here talking about y'all looking for the man that's 6 feet tall and dark and all that, say that nonsense. Why am I still single? Explain it to me.
Okay, Byron, you coming in hot now. Well, Byron, is for you. I think men are the pursuers. So why do you think you're single?
I refuse to settle.
And what is settling to you? Give me examples what you would consider settling.
I live debt free. So I don't want a woman who's all about the entourage, trying to live with the Joneses and be with the Joneses and all that. I don't have time for all that.
Okay. Would you date a woman with kids? I know you don't have any kids.
I'll date a woman with kids. I don't mind. As long as you're willing to have my kids, I'll take care of you and your kids. Just have my kids. I have no kids.
Now, that's one of the only things he brought up that I kind of disagree with. As a person who was childless at one point and got with and married a woman that had already had a kid, I think that's a bad idea. If you're a childless man, start a new family. Start a new family if you're a childless man. That's some good advice, because if something goes wrong with that marriage, the kid is going with the marriage. So everything you invested in that kid and all the time you spent and all the money you spent and all the time you spent investing into this young person to try to make them a better adult will go right out the window once you get a divorce. How do I know? It happened to me.
Okay. So you want a woman that's willing to have kids, and you would be a stepfather to her children if she has
No,
them.
I'm going to be a stepfather. I'm going to be a father.
What? Byron coming through. How tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
You're 6'4", okay. You have no kids. And then okay, so you said you got all the sixes, so I'm assuming you made six figures.
All the sixes. So all them women out there looking at the other part got that covered too. What y'all talking about? Let's go. Next question.
I mean,
hey man, this is a great interview, but I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy. Y'all can help me out in the comment section. Does Byron seem a little zesty?
I guess that's stuck in love.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, do Byron seem just a little zesty? Just a little zesty.
I guess that's stuck in love.
Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. Maybe I'm crazy.
You're saying, so the reason you feel like you're single is because you don't want a woman that wants to live above her means? Is there any other reason?
No, I know why I'm single. I'm single because women sit there and talk about what they really want, but they don't really want what they're talking about. They want the wedding, but they don't want the marriage. So,
that's a good point. They want the wedding, but they don't want the marriage. They want what they see on TV. And then after the marriage and after everybody's, all the stunting and fronting that you did, when it's time to go home and actually sit down and build a life with that person, they can't do it. Number one, they ain't never seen it because their mama never showed them that shit. So then when they really get in it, they can't handle it. They can't handle it. I'm telling you, the best marriages happen at the justice of the motherfucking peace.
Blood clot.
You the cousins out there talking about what you want and all that, save it. You don't want it. Because I've been single all these years and I'm looking and I'm hunting. Where y'all at? And I'm talking about these black women. I ain't talking about all these other nationalities. No offense to everybody else. I'm talking about my queens.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where he's going wrong. But we'll get to that.
Where y'all at? We here.
Well, Byron, are you going on dates with these women?
Kendra, if I told you my story about the women that I've been on dates with, you would not even believe it. Trust me, you would not believe it.
Give me one. Just give me one.
One, here in Chicago, I left my purse at home. Stop that nonsense. I'm all about the game. You left your purse at home. You ain't trying to pay for nothing. I ain't actually pay for nothing, but it's okay. I'm going to pay for everything and let you run your little game and keep it going. That's just one. These women out here, they be talking that nonsense. They're not really. They're not about that life. They're not really trying to be about nothing. They just talking. They faking it.
Byron, okay. Let me ask you about...
Kendra, all these women out here is talking about six-figure men and this and all that. First of all, say the six figures. Because before I made six figures, I still saved and I invested over $30,000 a year. So y'all talking about the man that makes six figures, but if he's spending six figures, what are you really getting?
That's a fact right there. His point is, a lot of good men are passed over every day because the job that they say they do doesn't sound appealing to the woman. But in actuality, there are plenty of men who make under six figures who have used their salaries to leverage all other type of resources in their lives. Just because you work a job that doesn't pay you six figures or isn't as glamorous as some of these positions that you like a guy to have doesn't mean the nigga ain't stacking money, investing in property, and sitting on some dough. That's what a lot of these women don't get to. But we'll get into that.
If I'm making $70,000 a year, example, if I'm making $70,000 a year and I'm investing and I'm saving $20,000 a year, what would you rather rent? What would you rather have? The man that's making $100,000 and in debt because he's spending his $100,000, or the man that's making $70,000 and he's investing and saving $20,000? So some of y'all women need to get y'all priorities straight. Next question, I'm ready. I've been waiting on this show. Lord have mercy, I've been waiting on this show. I've been sitting and listening to women get on here and they bash black men. And I sit there and just accept it and take it for what it is. But I was so happy to get on here so I can tell my story. Y'all got it so confused.
Shout out to Byron. Shout out to Byron. You know, I take that back. I ain't gonna call the man zesty. You know what I mean? He do got a little twang in his voice, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just his southern draw. I don't know. But Byron is making some great points, with the exception of being a stepfather, a childless stepfather. But he is making some great points.
It's black men out here ready to be married and ready to settle down, but y'all give us a hard ass time. Next question.
Now, does she have to make a certain amount of money for you?
No, she does not. She can work at Dollar General. She can work at Dollar Tree, making damn $5.75 an hour if she wants to. I'm gonna take care of the house, have my children, period. That's the difference between some of these males and some of these men. Some of these men worried about what you making. I don't care what you make. I got all that at home. I'll take care of all that.
Okay.
So, women at home with the little high school degree and all that, I love you. I ain't got a problem with you. Them doctors and them nurses and all the master's degrees and all that, them people that said they had to put a title in their name, you can say your title. I don't care about your title.
My man Byron's going on. Now, one thing I will say, to Byron. Now, Byron's correct. We really don't care what you do and how much you make. But at the same time, if you want to get married in America, this day and age, you're going to have to marry a woman with something to lose, or else you're going to lose. You're going to lose. And that's a fact. You marry a woman that's making $5.75 at Dollar Tree if you want. You marry her, she come home, and she stop working, or whether she stays at Dollar Tree or stops working. These little heifers get in her head. These heifers get in her head. And she divorces your ass. They taking half your shit, bro, and maybe more. Alimony and child support is gonna kick your ass. And then this nigga all hyped up talking about he gonna be a father even to the other kid. That's fine and all well. But just understand, if you adopt them kids, you paying child support for them too. This shit ain't no joke. Family court is not playing with niggas, especially niggas. They not playing. Trust me, I've been there.
Your title mean nothing to me.
Why don't you like the accomplished woman?
I don't have a problem with the accomplished women, but I have a problem with some of the accomplished women. They're about their career, and then they want to settle down and have a man. And I have a problem with that. If you're really about a relationship, then you'll have the man, and then whatever accomplishments happen, they just happen. I don't have a problem with it, but some of the women that be on your show, Kendra, they be talking about, I have a doctorate, I have this, I have that. Man, the average man don't care about what you have. We don't care about all that. You can work at Dollar General. You can work at McDonald's. As long as I can come home and you have my children, you can make me a meal if I need a meal, I'm good to go. Nobody care about all that other stuff. Me personally, I don't. Because all you doctors, all you master's degree people out there, you got student debt and a bunch of it. So I'll take that person at McDonald's with no student debt over you, your little 100K student debt. Yeah, I'm talking about that because I'm debt free, so I can talk about all them doctors out there.
Like I said, I like Byron. Byron's preaching. Byron is preaching. And in a perfect world, bro, yes, that is the type of woman that you want. However, I have to give the disclaimer, you have to be careful because the family courts will fuck you up for sure.
Let's go. Next question, Kendra.
They're saying, why are you so angry?
I'll tell you why I'm angry. I'm angry because I listen to your show and I hear so many women get on this show and they sit there and say, 6 figures. First thing they say is 6 figures. Now, mind you, I didn't make 6 figures all my life. So you sat there and knocked me because I didn't make the 6 figures, but I was a good man. Never had kids. Y'all talk about these men out here with all these babies, baby mamas, thing that.
Hey, shout out to Brandon Harris. My man says, damn, LOL, but I couldn't date a girl that really works at Mickey D's. I couldn't either. If you're a grown woman and you're working at McDonald's, that just says something about your state of mind. You couldn't figure out nothing else? Receptionist, something? McDonald's? Nah, sorry. I don't know. In DC, the only women that work at McDonald's are Mexican immigrants and former crackheads. And I'm going generous using the word former. It's some crack backsliding going on at McDonald's. Trust me. But yeah, the only women that are working at McDonald's in DC are immigrants from Central and South America and former crackheads. That's a fact.
Nature, I never had any of that. I worked hard. I was in the military. I did 15 years. I did my time. So y'all knocked me because I didn't make the money. So that's why I'm angry, because y'all sat there and put a price on me, on men like me. So that's why I'm upset. Y'all put a price on men like me. And most men would tell you the most disrespectful thing that you can say about a man is a man that can't provide. So when you put a number on a man, that's hurtful. And most men won't tell you that. And I'm gonna tell you that's hurtful to us. If I'm making $60,000 or $70,000 and you telling me I got to make $100,000, you belittling me as a black man. That's hard. So that's why I come off a little bit angry.
Okay.
So yeah, very interesting conversation. I'll say this about it. This guy made some very, very good points. And actually, some of the points he made, a lot of guys in the male, especially black male space in YouTube, these guys have been making these points for years. See, these women with all these accolades, your doctors, your nurses, all these motherfuckers, they're mostly single women. They lead with their accomplishments as if that's what we really care about. And what's crazy is, if he was any other race, or he preferred any other race of women, you're talking about a dude that's 6'4", makes great money, educated, etc. He'd have been married by now. If that nigga was into white women or Asian women or Latino women, he'd have been married. He'd have been married right now. Because say what you want, you got your criticism about all the races of women, but those women know how to identify husband material off the break in their 20s. It take a black woman until she's 40 to realize she should have settled down with the nigga she was with when she was 26. They don't realize that shit till 40 and 25 dicks later. And then by that point, it's too late. So, yeah. He'd have been married by now, but since he's focused on only dealing with black women, and this is no offense, he's 44, he's still single with no damn kids, all because the women he likes overlooked him. I mean, I know plenty of men that don't have these glamorous titles that make hella money based off the money they made, they saved and invested. I know bus drivers, electricians, fucking truck drivers, police officers, firemen, even janitors who are all worth over $1 million. But they get overlooked by women every day because of the title of their day jobs. But even if they aren't worth $1 million, a guy with a regular job and a regular career can still add a lot of value to these women's lives. But they don't see it because most of them are so hypnotized by Instagram, Twitter, and reality television. So much so that a regular guy doesn't even fit in their delusional, unrealistic fantasy of what she thinks she really believes that she deserves. And that's the problem here. It's mental. It's mental. But yeah, we're going to get into one of the hot topics though. We're going to get into this Sarah Brady, the surfer, exposing Jonah Hill. We're going to get into that because that's been really catching some traction this week. But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, do yourself a favor, pour yourself a drink because the conversation is getting ready to get heavy.
Any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting common is when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And pretty soon we're going to be common in this country.
Facts. Pretty soon we are going to be a communist country. Don Julio on deck. Let's get it. All right. So, Jonah Hill. Now, the other day we spoke extensively about American black women and how the culture of feminism has pretty much made them unwipeable at this point. But they ain't the only ones. I'm here to tell you they are not the only ones. To be fair, these Karens are also out of control. They're out of control. Liberal white women or far left white women are probably just as bad, maybe even worse. Just think, remember that chick that Johnny Depp was married to, or that Amber Heard? We did a show on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. And the shit that she was doing to this man was out of this fucking world. That bitch was a straight up, she was the devil. And if Johnny Depp didn't have any proof, recordings, video, all that type of shit, if he didn't have any proof, that shit would have cost him hundreds of millions of dollars. And she would have screwed him over without batting a goddamn eye. No conscience, no nothing. That's how they are. They will lie until they get caught. And when they get caught, that's when they start crying and trying to become the victim. Something similar is happening to Jonah Hill right now. His ex-girlfriend from like a year or two ago is now trying to come up and say he emotionally abused her. So she leaked some text messages that they had, and basically with him trying to break up with her for valid reasons. She leaked those text messages and now is trying to turn it around and say that he was emotionally abusive, which is the most ridiculous reach I've seen in quite some time. This is like Cosby accuser level reaching. This is Cosby accuser level reaching. I mean, Sarah Jones literally waited until the day his new girlfriend delivered their baby. She literally waited to do that, to put these texts out, as if they aren't dealing with enough with a new baby. This is the type of psychopathic mentality that these women have. Instead of her being able to go seek help from a therapist about the fact that she lost a good man over some nonsense, she takes to social media and tries to bring him down. That's their first line of reasoning. Take him down. Instead of getting help to deal with the fact that you can't accept the fact that he moved on, got another chick, and now has a family with this person. Instead, you try to take him down. And ironically, this was the same shit that Jonah Hill criticized his ex-girlfriend for, is the same shit that Keke Palmer's boyfriend was saying the other day. Same shit. That's why it's relevant. But the Instagram and Twitter feminists lost their shit. So let's go to these texts and see what the hell we talking about. All right. Okay. All right. There's a lot of text here too, but we're going to try to get through them all. So look, this is one round of text she posted on her story. She says, fuck it. So, bam, she screenshots it. She says, so he texts her, plain and simple, if you need surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, friendships with women who are in unstable places, and from your wild recent past, beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful, I am not the right partner for you. If these things bring you to a place of happiness, I support it, and there will be no hard feelings. These are my boundaries for romantic partnership. My boundaries with you based on the way these actions have hurt our trust. Now, what the hell is wrong with that? What's wrong with that? He respectfully told her that the way you're living your life isn't conducive to my morals and values as they pertain to relationships. So I just want to go the other way. But she turns that into emotional abuse. Somehow, some way, the internet feminists have turned this into misandry and verbal assault. Let's continue. So she posts another pic. He says, Oh, and modeling, which is the last profession I would be with as a partner. And then she says, stop pics. He says, but LOL, must be hard feeling so trapped. Then she says, well, maybe you should have asked me more about what I do for work before you decided to date me then. A little late now. Then he says, keep taking me for granted. Go model. It's a fulfilling life. You'll love it. Real depth in substance and sustainability for relationships. But actually, I'm done with this conversation. So as you can see, he's trying to be nice about it. He's like, look, go do what you want to do. I don't care anymore. I'm moving on. Let's go to the next round of text. Then he tells her, it's just constant and doesn't reflect where we're at or where you say you want to be. I respect your skill and your surfing. I respect how you want to present yourself. I respect that you're hot and beautiful, and I respect however you want to live. But I also respect myself. And what I'm interested in my own life, and what I let into my heart and inner circle. So celebrate yourself and your life however you please, and shine bright. But I don't want to have to deal with it. Once again, what about these text messages is emotionally abusive, or whatever the hell she said, whatever the hell her fucking charges were? Let's read some more text. Then she says, this is a warning to all girls. If your partner is talking to you like this, make an exit plan. Love y'all. Keep me if you need an ear. This bitch is absolutely crazy. The fact that she's posting all of these screenshots the day this guy had his baby is insane. This is insane. And the weirdest part is the people on the news who are reporting this are reporting it like he actually did something wrong to her. She waited a year or two for this nigga to have his baby to outshine the fact that he just had a child, to try to tarnish his name by accusing him of doing something to her that he didn't even do. All he did was break up with her. Shout out to Brandon Harris. He says she only did it because she knew it would blow up because of who he is. And she mad he moved on. You damn right she mad he moved on. This is what they do. So let's read this shit. 3 removed, not the video yet. It is my best surfing video. Would you feel better if the cover frame was different? Any more for specific ones that bother you? He says, yes, the one that isn't of your ass in a thong. Not a thong, but okay, that's what she says. Then he says, and as far as other pictures, you in a bathing suit, surfing or not. So, and then he responds to the not a thong. Then he says, I'm done. And he says, there's tons. I'm just going back the past month. So basically his gripe is, if you're going to be with me, if you're going to be representing me out in the street, I don't want you posing sexually, and I don't want you posting certain shit online. That's a reasonable request. I wouldn't want my wife posting shit like that. We'd have a problem. We have a serious problem. But the thing is, these women these days think they can do whatever the hell they want, and there's no consequences for their actions. Part of that is because there's so many simps out here that let them get away with it. Half the problem is you niggas need to pull your pants up and act like men and stop letting these women trample all over you. That's half the goddamn problem. So shout out to Jonah Hill. Let's read this last text. So then he says, you're right. We can't do surf social things or develop trust until you consider me and make decisions that give regard to our relationship. I have been as vulnerable as possible, and I am telling you, I am needing you to step up to the plate, which you can, I'm sure of it. But these losers don't get your time if you want me. Straight up, it's consideration. I respect your love of surfing, but I respect myself as well. And your love of surfing and being in those situations and lack of awareness are not mutually exclusive. This isn't me. I have my own issues and I own that. If you want marriage and family, you can't use the 25 card. Step up and cut the shit. These people don't get your time or your kindness at the sacrifice of mine. And then she says, by these people, he meant any friend of mine that he hadn't personally approved of. I get it. Jonah Hill is not playing no games. Jonah Hill's not playing no games. You want to be at the surf club all the time? You want to be in bikinis and or hanging around niggas all day? Fine, do you. But it's not for me. I won't be with you if that's the life you want to live. I'm not mad at you. I'm not trying to force you to do anything. I'm just saying I can't deal with it. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that. But yeah, man, the shit gets crazier though. Shit gets crazier though. Because not only did she attempt to ruin this man's credibility by painting him to be an abuser, she also tried to sabotage his new relationship and still make herself the victim. Some audio clips of her explaining why she waited to drop the tweets as soon as his girlfriend gave birth have recently surfaced. So let's listen to this bullshit real quick. Let's listen. Give me a second. Let me get to the page and we'll pull it up. All right. Hopefully there's no ads on this shit. And there is. We're gonna have to wait till the ads finish. But yeah, I'll get it pulled up. Here we go. As soon as the ad's done, we'll be up. My bad, good people. All right. The hell? Hold on. This is crazy. Hold on. Give me a second. Technical difficulties. Hold on. God damn. All right, it'll pull up. It'll pull up in a second. Give me a second, man.
The City Custom Cash Card automatically
Once
adjusts
this
to your
ad is
spending.
over, it should be up.
You don't have to keep tabs on rotating categories.
This is the only rotating I care about.
I hate these
It does the
goddamn
work for
ads.
you. Earn cash back. that
Bear with me,
automatically
people. Bear
adjusts
with
to
me.
your Top eligible spend category with the City Custom Cash Card.
All right, here we go.
I mean, at this point, there's no going back, and I'm not trying to like slander someone's reputation.
So this is her talking about why she released the text messages. Let me go back real quick. All right, let's go.
I mean, at this point, there's no going back, and I'm not trying to like slander someone's reputation. I'm literally sharing their own words.
Blood clot.
Oh my God. Now, did you hear what she just said? I'm not trying to slander someone's reputation. I'm literally just sharing their own words. Literally, nobody asked you to share these text messages. You woke up one day, coincidentally, on the day his new baby is born, to show the world these text messages, but you're not trying to slander him. You can't make this shit up, man. These motherfuckers, they're really deranged. They're really deranged. Feminism has got these women out of their rabbit ass minds.
I mean, at this point, there's no going back, and I'm not trying to like slander someone's reputation. I'm literally sharing their own words. And not gonna lie, like
when someone says not gonna lie, they're definitely about to lie.
Part of me like waited until after she had given birth, like not right after, but like a little bit after, so that his current fiance and the mother of his child, Olivia, would, I just hoped like she would receive some of these screenshots somehow through friends, like friends of mine that I met through him that I know are good people and I know would make an effort to protect her. Like, I didn't want her to have to see all of this while she was pregnant because I didn't know what kind of stress that would cause on her.
Do you hear this shit? Do you hear this shit? This is the rationale behind these crazy broads. Let's go.
And her baby, like physically and everything, and I'm sure the timing can seem bad, like, oh yeah, I like waited until he had a kid, but like I waited until she had her baby. So I knew they were like physically not impacted by me sharing this shit, and she could be informed and make an informed decision of how she wants to care for herself and her baby, which she birthed and she created.
What does this have to do with him dumping you because you wear bikinis? Now so not only does she make herself a victim, now she's trying to turn his new baby mama or whatever she is, now she's trying to turn her into a victim. And this nigga hasn't done nothing to her. All because he told you he doesn't want you doing inappropriate things on the internet. You cannot make this shit up, man. You can't. You can't. So yeah, fellas, man. These Karens in America are also off their rockers. They are putting white boys through just as much hell as the sisters put brothers through. Shit, it might even be worse. One way to tell if you got a crazy white chick, though, is to see how liberal she is. If she's overly liberal and or an active feminist, steer clear of her. Steer clear of her. Odds are she's batshit crazy and she's gonna throw you under the bus the minute you do something she don't want you to do. But anyway, let's move on to our next topic, which is going to be presidential candidate. He's running as a Republican, Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, if you don't know who Vivek Ramaswamy is, you'll find out in a second. But he has been at the center of some very interesting conversations lately. Now, we haven't done a politics show in a little while, so I figured we get into this this whole conversation with the liberals versus Vivek. The conversation is pretty interesting, so use your attention span. I'm going to try to make this as entertaining as I can, but it's politics. It's important politics, though, so you should pay attention. Now, in my opinion, all of this controversy is working out majorly for Vivek because he doesn't really expect to become the president this go around. Strategically, he's probably going to have to do this 2 more times. But if he keeps at it, he's going to be a major player down the line. That's the strategy here. Granted, he's already the third, he's already number 2 behind Trump. There's Trump, there's DeSantis, and there's Vivek. So Vivek is actually doing better than the former vice president. He's doing better than Governor Chris Christie. He's doing better than a lot of Republicans who have entered the race. So for a motherfucker that just came out of nowhere, he's doing pretty well to be at number 3. So, but his thing is he's got all these misinformed, for lack of better terms, agents of the left coming for him left and right. And he's slaughtering them with logic every single time. Now, his first victim was Don Lemon. We saw what happened with Don Lemon. He went back and forth with Don Lemon. Next day, Don Lemon got fired. Now, I don't think Vivek had anything to do with it, but the coincidence makes things interesting. Now, one of his most popular interviews recently was the one he did with The Breakfast Club, which we're going to go over later on in the show. We're going to save that for last because I think it's the most interesting one. So yeah, he did the interview with The Breakfast Club, and he also has been going back and forth with MSNBC host Joy Reid, who I cannot stand with every single ounce of blood in my body. I can't stand her. I can't stand her. So without wasting any time, we're just gonna go ahead and start the video that Joy Reid did about him, and then we'll play his response. So let's get this Joy Reid video up. This is where it started, and we'll go from there. Second. All right, here we go.
Hey guys, so this guy, Vivek Ramaswamy, has just been like thirstily, hilariously, like tweeting at me. I don't even tweet anymore. I'm like so off Twitter, trying to get booked on my show. So here's what's...
So first off, he was tweeting at her because she did a whole broadcast about him, brought another Indian American on the show to try to shit on him. That's why he's been commenting towards her. She didn't put that in perspective though. She just made it seem like he went crazy and started going for her neck. Not true.
Proud about that. Here he is saying, like me, Joanne Reid is a kid of immigrants from a former European colony who went to Harvard. Unlike me, she benefited from affirmative action because she counts as black and, in her own words, wouldn't have gotten in without it. She complains that her peers looked at her blah, 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 blah. First of all, affirmative action is how you got into Vivek.
Bro, so, okay, what's up, bro? Ladies, black women. And you know what? I can't just put this on American black women because I believe Joy Reid is like Haitian or something. Y'all gotta cut it with these crazy wigs, especially my Caribbean homegirls, my Caribbean family. Y'all gotta do better with these wigs, man. That is awful. How did you put the phone to your face and saw yourself in the camera talking with that thing on your head? I don't know how people do it. Like, putting a wig like that on, it to me is almost like when niggas start crying on live and shit, recording themselves cry. It's like the stupidest thing ever to me. Why would you do that to yourself? Put a hat on if your hair ain't done, but not a wig, not that wig. Jesus Christ. Let's go.
They were looking for a more diverse cohort of people at the school. They let you in for the exact same reason. I'm just honest enough to admit it and not ashamed of how I actually got into college. That's number one. Number two, excuse me, Mr. Meritocracy, only on the merits. What makes you think that you are entitled to get on my show? If we want to go purely on meritocracy, then the only people that I'm going to book on the readout are the people who the data, the objective data, you know, like the PSAT scores and SAT scores and grade point averages that got me into Harvard. The objective data says that you have about a 0% chance of ever being president of the United States. So excuse me, what is your entitlement to get on my show? Because you went to Harvard? That doesn't sound like meritocracy.
I mean, first off, he's already been on bigger shows. So, I mean, he's been on Don Lemon's show, which he's been on the CNN show with Don Lemon, which has way better ratings than this. He's been on Fox News a bunch of times. He's been on shit. The only reason that he really wants to come on her show is to rip her a new one with facts and logic. But that's what these liberal pundits do. They run from the shit. I'll let her continue.
Proceed. Because that sounds like exactly the way other rich people get into Harvard, because they have a connection to the school. So you think a connection to the school is the reason you should get on my show. Just like you clearly think that having a connection to Harvard is the way people should be able to get into Harvard. And aren't you the one who in your own little biography said that you come from the very highest echelon of people in India? So your elitism plus your connection to Harvard is the reason I should put you on my show to talk about your run for president, not the objective fact that you have any chance in hell of ever actually being president, you know what, Vivek? Holler at me when you're polling close enough to Donald Trump that you could actually get the nomination. Then you will have earned a place at my table. You don't get a place at my table simply because you are elite and have a connection to Harvard and happen to be an alum. That is the kind of, I don't know,
Maybe that's not a wig. If that's not a wig, like, why would you get your hair done? Like, let me stop. That's besides the point. I told myself I was going to be better. So let's be better.
Blood clot.
Merit-based approach that so many of us object to in the way Harvard lets in legacies and the way you are trying to keep out people like me, and I hate to break it to you, but people like you from getting into the school. Be blessed.
One thing black people got to stop doing is comparing themselves to other races. Indians don't have a problem. Indians and Asians don't have a problem getting in Harvard. That's us. That's us and Latinos who have issues getting in Harvard. It's not Indians and Asians. I just wanted to clear that up. I don't compare myself. I hate to compare myself to others. Matter of fact, I'm beige. We don't compare ourselves to anybody. All right, now let's get to Vivek's response to what she said. Let's get to his response, because that was very interesting. All right.
In the Dred Scott case, Chief Justice Taney held for the Supreme Court that black people could not be citizens before the Civil War because that would allow them to own guns. After the Civil War, the first anti-gun laws, gun control laws that were passed in this country, were actually passed to stop black people from owning guns. These are some of the facts that I educated Don Lemon on set in a heated exchange that we had shortly before his firing. So shortly after that exchange, Joy Reid, an MSNBC host, has Ro Khanna, a Democratic politician who happens to be an Indian American, as a stand-in for the Indian American view, criticizing me for supposedly stating falsehoods. Actually, everything I stated is factually true.
So basically what he's saying is that Joy Reid, she's talking all this shit about him, he can't come on her show. She did a show about him, which is damn near like having him on there because you're giving him the publicity. She did a show about him and brought on a Democrat who happens to be Indian American to try to justify her opinions on him, which I think is corny. You got an issue with the man, bring him on your show and have the debate. But that's not what they do.
It's on U.S. history. But criticizing at length my supposed falsehoods, and then has Ro Khanna effectively licking her feet, which is exactly what she wanted on air, talking about how Indian Americans owe black Americans a debt of gratitude. So I thought it was remarkable that here's a TV host supposedly who wants to engage in open debate about my views on this post-Civil War history, who's talking about me on air extensively to another Indian American second-rate stand-in, but won't talk to me directly, so I made an offer. I said, if you want to have a debate about this, if you think that your recounting of the post-Civil War history is any different than mine, let's have that debate in the open. What do we get? Silence. This is what the modern left does, and Joy Reid embodies it. Very well, actually. Cower in fear and hide. Talk a big game when you're talking to your own community, when you're talking to the people who agree with you, but cower in fear when it comes to actually confronting the other side in open debate. Now, more recently, she was spouting off about affirmative action after the Supreme Court came down with its ruling, saying that she would not have gotten into Harvard without affirmative action. I believe her. I think that's probably true. But then she also complained that she was judged negatively by her peers because she got in based on affirmative action. I actually said that that's wrong. It's wrong to black Americans, it's wrong to Asian Americans or white Americans who are discriminated against, but it's even unfair to black Americans, many of whom I went to school with, who would have gotten in meritocratically anyway. It's unfair that they're judged that way. So I said so. And then Joy Reid again, classic pattern, talking about me instead of to me, says that, Vivek Ramaswamy also wouldn't have gotten into Harvard, but for affirmative action. That is a lie, and it reflects a shocking combination of gall and ignorance, failing to pay attention to the fact that that case argued in front of the Supreme Court was brought on behalf of Asian Americans. That includes Indian Americans.
So let me put you guys up to speed if you're not up to speed about the whole Supreme Court thing. So the whole Supreme Court thing was a big deal last week because the whole college admissions thing. And what most people don't know is that it wasn't even white people who went to the Supreme Court fighting against the affirmative action. It was actually Asian and Indian Americans. Now, why did they do that? So it goes like this, and I don't want to come across as a coon. Some people gonna call me that. I really don't care. I really don't care at this point because it doesn't fucking matter anyway, right? So the reason why people are taking an issue with the whole affirmative action admissions thing is because, I mean, we all went to school with Asian people. They study hard and they get the best grades. Well, they study hard, they get the best grades, and they were getting accepted into Harvard in droves. And all of a sudden, they stopped getting accepted into droves because they let affirmative action kick in. Now, granted, I do believe that I do believe in equal opportunity. But with that equal opportunity does not come equal outcome. The outcome comes with the results. So if these people are studying hard and getting better grades than all the black people and all the Hispanic people or whoever who are applying for Harvard, they deserve to get in because Harvard wants the best. So the fact that they are not accepting the best candidates in order to meet a quota doesn't really help anyone. Because I got news for you. The black people that they let in Harvard for affirmative action don't give a fuck about black people in the first place. Joy Reid went to Harvard. She doesn't give a fuck about black people. When black people were fighting for reparations, Joy Reid was against it. Joy Reid is, I believe, of Haitian descent or some type of Caribbean descent. Or maybe she's Nigerian. I don't know. She's not a black American. But Joy Reid was against black Americans getting reparations. And the only reason that she's for affirmative action is because she can benefit off of it because of the color of her skin. It has nothing to do with her lineage and her ancestry because they have nothing to do with the struggle of African Americans in America. But she can come in from a different country and suck all the blood out of our struggle to benefit herself. But when it came to legislation that would have benefited black Americans, she was against it. So that's why I have I don't really have any respect for Joy Reid because she ain't really about what she's talking about. She is for herself and for the corporate media that tell her what to do and say. So as far as all these black folks getting in Harvard, I don't give a fuck about black folks getting in Harvard because the niggas that go to Harvard ain't doing shit for black folks anyway. They ain't doing shit for you anyway. So you niggas just like looking at niggas. Oh, look at this. This is the first black man to do this. First black man to do that. That black man ain't doing shit for you. You just looking at his ass. Obama, perfect example. First black president. He got black skin. So what? He ain't did shit for you. You just like looking at niggas. And that's why you lose. You motherfuckers are just infatuated with looking at niggas. Meanwhile, by 2053, we will be a permanent underclass. The wealth will be at zero. But it's okay as long as you can look at niggas. That's why I quit, man. I'm beige. I'm FBA. I'm a foundational beige American. About to let you niggas give me no heart. Man, fighting for black folks is like rooting for the goddamn Redskins, bro. And I was a Redskins fan for damn near all my life. Every week it's a fucking heart attack. That's what it's like. Fighting for black rights. It's a goddamn heart attack. And I'm done. I deserve better. I deserve better, man. All right, let's continue, man. Sorry about that rant.
Who are systematically discriminated against, penalized by affirmative action, which rewards Black and Hispanic Americans. So that combination of ignorance but self-confidence embodies the modern left. And the sad part of it is, folks like Joy Reid, again, they have utter, total, apparent comfort with spewing falsehoods and doing it to only the silos and the echo chambers that agree with them. Totally comfortable to talk about me at length and all the reasons why I'm supposedly wrong, when in fact I'm grounded in fact. But what I say is, okay, if I believe in my views and you believe in yours, I'm open to having it out in the open. That's where I talk to Chuck Todd or Don Lemon, go on the Breakfast Club. I show up and believe in open dialogue and debate. That's how we get to truth. It's a shame to see that some of the leading commentators for the modern left, when push comes to shove, really just go back into their caves to hide from the truth, wallowing in their own fear. What I'll say is, Joy, from one alum to another, the offer still stands. I understand why you'd like to hide from debate, but I think it's better for the country if you're actually engaging with the people who disagree with you, rather than talking about them with falsehoods without actually confronting the facts.
I mean, I think what he said was absolutely correct. I mean, how can you be mad at that? I mean, she attacked him, basically tried to insult him. He came back with a respectful response that puts her in the hot seat. If you disagree with me, then just debate me, and let's see whose facts end up standing last. But she ain't about that life, man. Now let's get to another conversation he had with another black scholar that's in the media on CNN. Can't remember this chick's name. Can't remember her name. But this is another interesting conversation he had. So we'll get to that. Y'all know, give me a second. Give me a second. God damn it. All right, here we go.
Another issue, this is also something that your opponents, Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, have called for, including DeSantis very recently, which is an end to birthright citizenship. What's your position on that? Would you end birthright citizenship?
Now, here you have the CNN anchor, I can't remember her name, and Vivek Ramaswamy discussing immigration. Now, this is not the whole entire video, but I can just give you a quick synopsis. The anchor, who is a left-wing liberal media personality, doesn't like the fact that Vivek Ramaswamy, who happens to be a child of an immigrant, is tough on immigration. Which is crazy to me, because you would think a black American would be among the toughest on immigration because of the impact that immigration has on us. But they aren't. Let's listen to the conversation though.
I think for a period of time, I think it's going to be necessary in this country because we have an influx of migrants across that southern border. 14,000 plus per day by some estimates crossing that southern border. That is not the rule of law. That is the abandonment of the rule of law. So if migrants are coming illegally, intentionally, to be able to establish an illegal toehold in the United States, then I think that that's something that we should not abide in this country.
And we should say that you were,
issue one step even.
We should say also, I mean, both of your parents are immigrants to the United States.
Now, what the hell does that have to do with anything? That has nothing to do with the conversation. We'll let it go.
You would have been a beneficiary of birthright citizenship, but you now are saying you would ban that for people coming into the country. And what is the period of time for which that would be the case?
For people coming into the country illegally. That's the key distinction. And people make this mistake all the time. And I think you got to be really careful when you talk about the difference between legal immigrants and illegal immigrants. One is founded on following the rule of law. The other is founded on breaking the rule of law.
That might be the case, but I'm just saying that
border
birthright
security and immigration are not the same issue.
What I'm saying is that birthright citizenship, as it is currently in law, does not make that distinction.
So, and there you have it. And that's the end of that video. And there you have it. Now, he's saying that you need to do something about birthright citizenship because illegal aliens are crossing over to the border every day, having sex, and then producing kids, making them citizens. Something should be done about that. And she's trying to say, well, You were born in this country from immigrants, and that's how you got your birthright citizenship. He's saying, well, yeah, but my parents actually came over, they paid the money, they took the test, and they passed all the citizenship requirements, and they did shit the right way, which I agree with. If someone does that, they should have the right to have a baby and that kid be automatically a citizen. His parents did the right thing. She's trying to compare people illegally running into the country through the Mexican border to people who paid money and took a test to be a citizen. But see, this is the dumb shit black people do, because all they want to do is argue with Republicans instead of actually sitting and listening to what these people are saying. If we actually listen to half the shit some of these politicians had to say that's on the right, we would probably agree. But niggas are so brainwashed by the Democrats, they just have to argue. I'll give you a great example, right? I'll give you a great example. Niggas said Trump was a racist for wanting to do something about immigration, right? Especially in the state of Illinois, which is heavily votes Democrat, especially with that whole Chicago area, right? So let me show you what happened to black folks in Chicago. Let me show you what happened to black folks in Chicago who thought it was a good idea to stand for illegal immigration. This is what happened to them. It's in Chicago.
That have not come to us, now you...
Here we go.
All these resources that have not come to us, now you want to overly compensate for people who never lived here before, and we need to be taken care of first and foremost before anything else happens.
But you voted for it. This is what you voted for. Joe Biden, all these niggas, they told you when they were running, we're going to bring 11 million immigrants across the border. This is what they told you they was going to do. You still voted for it, and look at you now. Let's go. Let's play that back.
All these resources that have not come to us, now you want to overly compensate for people who never lived here before, and we need to be taken care of first and foremost before anything else happens here.
Why would any leader put our black communities already riddled with crime at further risk by placing unvetted non-taxpayers steps away from our seniors, our children, and our homes we've worked so hard on our own to secure?
First of all, you voted for this. Second of all, you're a grown-ass man. You're supposed to work hard on your own for your own home. God, we have to get out of this mentality. Not we, y'all. I'm beige. Y'all niggas have to get out of this mentality. You have to get out of it. Everybody's sitting back laughing at how stupid niggas look. And the funniest part is, niggas actually think these other groups feel sorry for us.
Blood clot.
Nobody feels sorry. This is Game of Thrones. The immigrants are laughing at you, ready to stab you in the back and take your place. But niggas got this Jesus complex, like we gotta be the humanitarians of the country and fight for everybody and all this dumb shit. That's not how America works. That's not how any country works, actually.
We are at war, people. Our communities are at war.
I don't even know why you let a nigga that look like this come up and speak. I mean, Jesus. This nigga got on a bulletproof vest, man. Let's go.
They are violating our communities, and we asking that we across the country, and we asking and we're demanding for office of Black America, or whatever you want to call it, to deal with issues like this. That's right.
I did get placed on a wait list, but I was told that the immigrants were taking priority. See, that's a story that a lot of people don't know, and it just it hurt me. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I understand we need to be humanitarian, but these people are, that my participants are third and fourth generation Chicagoans, born, bred, fed, and raised here. My grandmother, Mayrella Carrington, rest in peace, always said, Craig, charity starts at home first, and then it go abroad.
Politically, having over 500 people in our community would completely wipe out any interest we have.
But you called Trump a racist. My bad, people. I can't get over this. Like, every time I watch this video, because I played it on the show before, every time I watch this video, it frustrates me to all hell. Because I begged and pleaded and argued with old niggas all day, trying to tell them that the Democrats are leading you astray. And they don't listen. And then they end up doing press conferences like this. And it's not just about illegal immigration. It's about every goddamn issue under the sun for black folks. You vote for these same motherfuckers every time, and you wonder why you have to keep doing these dumbass press conferences.
Many of these migrants have been dumped in our neighborhoods without a plan in place to monitor and house them long term.
I'm not selling nothing. And I keep telling people, we don't have to move. If you sell, they gonna come in. If we don't sell, we gotta stand strong and go. That's right.
So boom, there you have it, man. There you have it. Now let's look at what Mr. Ramaswamy has to say about the immigration issue. Let's see what happens if you actually listen to what some of these Republicans have to say. Now, this is him campaigning in a Chicago barbershop. When a guy that's in the barbershop asked him a question about the illegal immigrants taking up resources.
I need you to respond to that. If you give everybody that same chance, some people that were not catapulted on the same platform are still going to be ahead of us. We will never close the wealth gap in the county. And when you say race, I'm not talking about race. I'm talking specifically about this. No. Descendants of slaves. I'm not talking about black people. Because you would come from Nigeria and be over here and be classified as black.
And that's the people who benefit from.
Right, but I'm talking specifically descendants of slaves. People whose ancestors, right, was on picking cotton, was being whipped, was being hanged, was being
recently in the news. I don't know if you have been saying, I don't know if Tasha brought up the speed of your staff, but Governor Abbott has sent an influx of migrants to Chicago.
Yep, he has.
This has been declared a sanctuary city, been a sanctuary city for a long time.
Yep.
I'm a Christian. I do believe in being a good neighbor, but I also believe in being a good steward. So a lot of the benefits that the migrants have been receiving, African Americans in this city have not been receiving those same type of benefits. When it comes to housing, when it comes to school, just when it comes to a lot of different persons.
Boom. So he's talking to the Republican candidate. He's telling him the issues. He's saying, and he said earlier, he's specifically talking about American descendants of slavery. Right? He clarified he's not talking about others, and no disrespect to them. But listen to the answer that the Republican candidate gives. The ones who are so racist that you guys won't never listen to. Listen to what he has to say.
Yep. My question to you is, and the South Shore High School, as you know, is going to house possibly thousands of migrants, right?
Yeah, we're going there next.
A lot of our neighbors feel away about that. My question to you is how would you handle that situation? How would you handle the influx of migrants? Because we definitely don't want anybody to be homeless, but in a sense, also, we definitely want to make sure that we are criteria making sure that African Americans who have been homeless have.
I mean, I wish the nigga would stop the Clippers. Like, that's crazy. Nigga trying to talk. Stop the Clippers. Let the nigga talk. Jesus.
Top priority is good. But how would you handle the situation tonight?
The way I look at it is, I don't blame the individual migrants as human beings. I'm going to preface it by saying that.
if I was in their position, living a tough life in Honduras or Nicaragua or Mexico, maybe I'd be doing the same thing. But we live in a nation here, and we have to put Americans first. That's what it means to govern. So I would, Joe Biden, you got your new mayor here, they dance around this. I say we actually secure the border. We use the military, not to secure somebody else's border halfway around the world in Ukraine or wherever else. Use our own military to secure our own border. And for people here whose first act of entering this country broke the law, treat them humanely, treat them respectfully, but you have to go back and come back through the legal process if you're going to come at all.
Now, goddamn, look how far a little common fucking sense goes. Let's go.
And then the last piece was $7,000 a month per migrant is what they're spending. Those same dollars can actually be used to support development that helps Americans right here at home. So I think that if there's one wake-up call, if we can do this, if we can have baby formula and expensive sneakers and $7,000 a month for somebody whose first act of entering this country broke the law, that reveals that we can actually be doing more to help Americans right here at home, including Americans in this community in the south side of Chicago.
I appreciate that. What do you feel about people who say that Governor Abbott is using the migrants as political property?
So to tell you, I don't like partisan politics very much, but I'm going to speak truth. It's Chicago that was calling itself a sanctuary city.
Facts. I hate when people try to blame Governor Abbott and DeSantis. Look, you motherfucker said you wanted all the immigrants to come. You take them. But if I'm the governor of Texas and the federal government that we're paying money to won't secure the border, fine. I'll put them in buses and I'll send them the fuck up there with y'all. So y'all can take care of them since you want them so goddamn bad. I fully support Governor Abbott in that regard. I fully support it.
Boast to the country that we're a sanctuary, that we're the ones who are going to make people come. So I don't blame in this case the person who's saying that I'm protecting the residents in my state. If somebody else wants to say that they're a sanctuary city and then people actually send them, I think it's your mayor that bears accountability for that. I'm not blaming him for the sake of blaming him. I'm blaming him. I think that the citizens of this city can hold him accountable to say that, you know what, how about you look after the people who actually lived here and voted for you and pay taxes here and actually live here and whose families have lived here, rather than solving somebody else's problem somewhere else. That's where I think the problem actually rests.
So there we go. Solid answer. Wasn't filled with bullshit answers. The guy asked him a question and he answered it validly. Doesn't seem like a bad guy to me. But anyway, let's get to this Breakfast Club interview because it's getting late. I know y'all want to get on with it, so let's get it. I'm not gonna play this whole thing.
Or Kevin McCarthy or somebody else or Donald Trump.
Hold on. Let me speed up the goddamn playback. Yeah, there we go. All right.
Trump or somebody else. This is a superficial discussion versus actually just taking a step back, and the Republican Party does not do this enough. What do we stand for, and why do we stand for it? Actually, a lot of my criticisms are also directed at the fact that we define ourselves, when I say we, I'm running as a Republican, but as a party in opposition to something. All right, that's what Joe Biden did. That's what the radical left does. And race, gender, sexuality, climate. I'm opposed to a lot of these ideologies of identity, but the right falls into the trap of just saying we're not those things, and then we'll fight about which biographies win. Oh, I'm actually a bigger and more accomplished person than you, and I'm going to sling mud at you, versus asking the question of, what do we actually stand for? For me, it's about individual, family, nation, God. You can agree or disagree, but at least that's a vision that's different from a vision of identity grounded on race and gender and sexuality and climate. And so that's a long way of saying, I guess, what I see is deficient in the field, the entire Republican field, including candidates you mentioned, is they're all running from something. And I'm in this race because I want us to run to something.
What is that something?
A vision of what it means to be American. Okay? Revive the ideals of 1776. Revive the truth. Meritocracy, excellence, freedom of speech, rule of law. A radical idea. This is not a Democrat or Republican idea, that the people we elect to run the government ought to at least be the ones who actually run the government. That's not the case today. I want to talk about fixing the system. You want to talk about one of the myths where we fall short of our ideals. We're taught in school that we have 3 branches of government. they're irrelevant compared to who actually runs the government. It's a fourth branch of government of 3-letter agencies in Washington, D.C. That is a formula for corruption.
I want to make a note here before we get started. So this is Vivek Ramaswamy on The Breakfast Club, Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy. And one thing that's interesting to note, is that they had to bring in a ringer to help these guys actually argue with Vivek. They had to bring in this chick. I can't remember her name. It's Fagario, Teslin Fagario, some chick. She's like the new Tamika Mallory, BLM type chick on the internet crying, running her goddamn mouth. Ain't gonna bust a grape in a fruit fight, but always stirring some shit up. Same type. So they had to bring her on the show to go back and forth with Vivek. And you'll see when she comes on, I'll point out some of the things I dislike about her. But just wanted you guys to note, DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God are useless in a political argument, especially with someone who can articulate themselves and knows what the fuck they're talking about.
Corruption we get. That's a system we need to break down.
We'll go through.
I mean, you could go down the list. SEC, FDA, EPA, TSA. The tens of thousands of government bureaucrats working in Washington, D.C., they're the ones who actually make the laws. It's not Congress. And that's a formula. And those people aren't elected. Nobody elected them. They're protected by these what are called civil service protections, which means even the president, technically, under many people's beliefs, can't fire them. That's the permanent state, what many in the right will call the deep state. I think that's a problem. I think that falls short of our ideals. I think the same FBI that threatened Martin Luther King with suicide on the back of incorrectly collected tapes is now committing I would say hypocrisy and corrupt actions against people of a different political persuasion that the FBI doesn't like today. I just think it's a formula for corruption when you have unelected bureaucrats that are actually setting policy. But that's a detail compared to my point, which...
Great point he just made about the FBI. The FBI are the same ones that set up Dr. King and Malcolm X. Now they're turning around and doing the same thing to a former president of the United States. Or to political opponents at this point. But niggas don't recognize that shit.
We need to revive the ideals that the nation was actually founded on and do a better job of aspiring to them.
Now we have Teslin Figaro. I'm sure Teslin has some questions. Tez, you good?
Yes, I do.
And this is who I'm talking about. Teslin Figaro, right? So DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God had to resort to letting a sassy mouth mammy come up and debate because they couldn't handle him. Side note, this is a very bad look for black men. This is why I've changed my race to beige, because this shit right here is an embarrassment. This is an embarrassment. They couldn't handle them, so they had to call Mammy.
So I've heard a lot of, what you think and your vision, and I'm a very practical person, and I want to kind of oppose to talking about your opponents. Let's talk about you for a moment, and let's actually talk about your policy. Explain to me your position on the civic duty voting.
Sure. So my position is, I think that every kid who graduates from high school should know the minimums about the country that we require an immigrant to know about the country in order to become a citizen. So there's a test. My mom had to pass it. Every immigrant has to pass it to this country. That asks you some basic questions. What are the 3 branches of government? What branch of government does the U.S. president lead? Some basic questions about what is the Bill of Rights. It's like a multiple choice exam, or some of them you write in. I think that if we're going to ask immigrants to pass that test, as we should, I think every 18-year-old who graduates from high school should have to pass that as well, because young people, it goes back to that issue of pride. You don't value a country that you don't know something about. You don't value something you inherit. You value something you have a stake in creating, in building, or knowing something about. So how do we think big about this? Well, young people, as I told you, most of them, very few of them vote, as it stands today. Super small numbers, and apparently 60% of them say they would rather give up their right to vote than give up TikTok. Well, I say, all right, let's take that to the next level. How about we do something that raises the voting age from 18 to 25, but you still get to vote at 18 if you just pass that same civics test that an immigrant has to pass in order to vote. And tests aren't for everybody, so be it. Then you at least serve in the military or a first responder role for 6 months. That's my civic duty voting proposal. And the reason is, I'll actually make a prediction.
Now, what's the problem with that? What is the problem with that? You see, they're going to take everything he says and just automatically have a problem with it because he's not a Democrat. Just watch.
I think youth voting in this country will skyrocket
from a very low level right now, it will skyrocket because you value something you actually have to earn. And I think that this is not a left-wing or right-wing point. We all have duties as citizens, right? You know, we aspire to free market capitalism, right? Materialist advance. And that's the life I've lived as well, by the way. My parents came to this country with not a lot of money. I've lived the American dream. I've made a lot of money by building businesses. That's one side of what it means to be an American. But part of it is we also have duties to this country. And I think the more we wake that up, actually, the voting age only became 18 in 1971 in the context of the Vietnam draft. So I just think reviving those ideas is going to be good for us.
So let's prove your point. Nick, our camera guy, do you know the 3 branches of the
Nick is over 24, so it don't matter.
But I'm just saying, but nobody knows there are 24. Red, do you know the 3 branches?
Executive.
Well, I got a test. I would like to see if you're willing to pass, because I believe in, just as you believe in civic engagement, I believe in changing the ideas of what political opponents should look like, what they should look like, or political candidates. Are you willing to take a test with me quickly? Because I just have a couple of questions for you.
I will, absolutely. And the way this is opening up, I have a feeling I'm about to fail it, but that's good. Let's do it.
That's right, yeah. Just for clarity, I am an independent. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. Cool. I think that's important for the premise of the argument, because I know you did a lot of debating at Harvard. I also want to make it clear these are the same questions that I asked liberal Democrat Marianne Williamson. So I want to make sure that we put that out there.
Let's put this in perspective now. She just said she's an independent. She's not a Democrat or a Republican. That's bullshit. If you go to her Instagram page, it's clear what side she goes on. Then she tries to compare her questioning him to her questioning Marianne Williamson. Yes, Marianne Williamson is a Democrat, but she is a fringe, she's not really a Democrat. She's more like RFK. Marianne Williamson has way different ideas than 95% of the Democrats that are currently in office. Marianne Williamson actually has good ideas and ideas that would actually help people. So the Democrats treat her like a redheaded stepchild. So for her to say, I asked Marianne Williamson these same questions, well, they treat her like she's a goddamn Republican. So you're not saying anything there, but they try to be slick like that.
Well, just to kind of set the foundation.
I'm open to being humbled. Let's do this.
Okay, great. Let's go. So you mentioned, the pride of being an American and how important it is to have pride in this country. I'm also a veteran, by the way, for the United States Air Force. So when is it that you voted for the first time?
I voted in 2020.
Okay, so you're how old again?
I'm 37 years old.
So for how many years you sat around and did not get involved at all in any civic engagement? Is that my understanding?
A long time is the answer. And actually, that's what I wrote this book about. I'm not holding myself out as some sort of model. I'm actually offering myself as a self-reflection of my journey as a citizen, to whom this country has given much, right? As an adult, when you have kids, it changes your perspectives. I'm very honest about that. Absolutely.
Okay, no problem. So let's go deeper into the self-reflection. So you sat around for, and sir, I'm being as respectful as I possibly can. Please don't take anything hard way.
And you don't even have to be. So take it off.
And she's not being respectful. That's the funniest part. You can look at her face and you can see the disrespect in her eyes.
Let's go.
So you've been sitting around in the country that my ancestors built for about 20 years. Your parents came over as immigrants.
That's a false statement. That's a false statement, because Vivek was born here. False statement.
Brought you over. You made millions, according to your resume, off of this country, and you have absolutely not been involved in civics. 1, not voting, and 2, let me just ask, because I know you mentioned earlier you don't want to sit around at the debate and talk about accomplishments. Let's make the accomplishments pretty simple. In high school, were you ever a class president or take any leadership role? Because your opponent did, Chris Christie. He was the class president. So have you ever taken any leadership at all on anything, or just?
Can I just correct a couple factual things that are kind of important? My parents didn't bring me over to the country. I was born in this country, and I'm proud of that.
No, I know you were born here in Ohio.
Ohio. You mentioned my parents.
Your parents were immigrants. My apologies.
That's all right. You said your parents brought you over to this country.
Yeah, my apologies. I mean, they were immigrants, but let's not go down the water.
No, we're not going to water. I was trying to correct a couple facts, and then the other thing is
you were born here in Ohio.
I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's right.
Right. So you've been here your entire life. So the question is, did you take any leadership role in middle school, high school, class president?
I did.
I know you played tennis. What is it? Explain it to us.
Student council. But I think that this is. Yes, I have held leadership roles over my life, but those don't qualify me to do what I'm doing now.
Yeah, it kind of does. Okay, it kind of does. Well, I'm giving the test. I'm the test administrator.
All right, there you go.
So it kind of does, because when you go from saying I want to go to the highest office,
I'll tell you, I've led companies as well. Is the other leader? The main leadership role I played is, and I want to talk about one early part of your premise that I also want to say, to bring it to the country point. The other point, you use the word sitting around. I'm not somebody who's saying I want the next generation, my kids' generation, to have more civic duties when they graduate from high school and college than I did when I did. That being said, I wasn't sitting around. I've developed medicines, 5 of which are FDA-approved products today.
I mean, I don't know if you guys are watching this, but to me, You can just see the lack of political knowledge that all three of the hosts have. The young lady that's talking against him, DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God are dead quiet. But this man has accomplished a lot of things. So for her to revert to saying, have you ever been student council president, all this shit, what does that have to do with anything? Nothing. Nothing.
One of which is a life-saving therapy in kids, 20 of whom die by the age of 3 if they're not treated, 70% of whom now live lives of a normal duration. Another one for prostate cancer. So I don't apologize for making contributions. But
right, well, I don't want you to filibuster that because that's not the question that I asked, and I don't consider it.
See, he didn't filibuster anything. He answered your question.
As a veteran, I'm talking about service. I'm not talking about what you did for profit. I'm not talking about what you paid people to do with your company. I'm not talking about
I've not served the country
because that means nothing to me. What I'm talking,
what I'm able to ask a question. She's been trying to ask a question, and you've been talking over it.
I'm all ears.
We gave you the platform to let you say.
I'm all ears. I'm all ears. No, I was just correcting a couple facts.
She hasn't had a chance to ask a question yet. Every time she tried to ask a question, you've been cutting her off.
I'm all ears.
Right. So your question. So my question again is: you're trying to your goal is to raise the standard, and you're saying you want people to believe in country, and you want people to have civic engagement. And sir, I just find it very telling that you haven't had any civic engagement at all and haven't been at all. And when I say sit around, I don't mean you haven't done anything. I'm talking about in regards to service, because one thing about political office, the same way that you want to change how people look at politics and look at this country, I want to change how people look at politicians. And when I see that someone hasn't did anything at all to be of service to mankind, to take a leadership role, it's not good enough to just be on city student council. Were you a leader? All of that applies. Have you been able to get anybody in the room at any time, from a high school gymnasium to Ohio, Republican leadership there to now? Have you been able to get anybody in a room to believe in this vision? I don't agree with a lot of your vision statement, but I do know you've been going around having these discussions and getting everybody emotionally worked up to talk about vision and debate. But I want to get to the practical. You're trying to go from preschool to president of the United States. You're skipping over city council, county council, mayor, governor. You want to go straight to the top. So my question is this a PR? Is this for the PR, the perception of reality? Or can you point to any leadership where you've been able to get people to believe in what you're talking about that they're not paid to do?
So first of all, he just said he developed 3 medicines that are groundbreaking, which I think that pretty much trumps student council. He's also led several successful businesses and made millions of dollars. In my opinion, those are some pretty steep qualifications. Now, before I'm only going to let a little bit more of this play, and I'm going to wrap this up because we're hitting on 2 hours now. But what we've got to pay attention to is how they're trying to frame this conversation. Look at how they're trying to frame this conversation. They're not asking him about any policy or anything real. They want to talk about semantics and service and if you was on the student council. This is stupid shit. And this is why black folks lose, because they don't want to talk about the things that really matter. But I'm gonna let it play a little more, and then we're gonna run this off.
On any of these vision statements that you have. If not, then to me it's a moot point, because you're holding a standard that you haven't met yourself.
So if you're only gonna count government service, you're absolutely
no, not government service.
Okay.
Student council in the 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th. Were you a leader?
He already said he was on the student council.
Did you do anything to rally anybody? Did you fight for better lunch? I did in the 6th grade with Miss Harris.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about government. I can go all the way back from the 5th grade every year, sir, because people who are in service to this country, if you're going to go around saying you want people to believe in this country that I signed up to die for, then I want to make sure that you're holding that.
Stop it. You was in the Air Force, and I'm very interested to know what you was in the Air Force for. I'm not one of them niggas that just everybody in the military gets a pass. What did you do in the military? If you was a secretary in the Air Force, get the fuck out of here.
Blood clot.
Then it was the Air Force. No disrespect to the Air Force. I got good friends that did a lot of great things in the Air Force, but y'all know what I'm talking about. You put an Air Force nigga, a Marine nigga, and an Army nigga in the room, and you know what the conversation is gonna be.
Same standard. So not government, not political. Let's not get it confused. Yeah. I'm saying, have you did anything of service that we can point to say he is a good leader? Like Chris, and I'm not even a fan of Chris Christie, but he was the student council president in high school. So have you done anything of service besides yourself that has not benefited yourself? It's just a simple question.
So the acts of service that I've...
Look at the nasty face she got. Look at that bad attitude. Like, no, she's single too. She's single too. She's never going to get a man.
Performed are small, so small that I don't even want to talk about them to boast. But yes, have I volunteered for this country? Yes, I have. I've always
So,
been
like,
interested
well,
in
let's talk
healthcare.
about it. It's okay to talk about the
Bethesda
small
North, I mean,
things. I think
these are
it
small
matters.
things, right? But thank you.
Oh, well, let's just mention
Bethesda
it.
North Hospital.
Really a no?
No, it's not a no. It's just something I don't like boasting about. I
Well, we're
volunteer.
not boasting.
Yeah,
It's an
I'm
interview.
boasting.
You're
Here we
boasting
go.
on your vision and
Look,
everything else.
I think
You
you
boasted on the millions of dollars that you made. So let's just throw it out. So in
I
sixth grade, I'll give you an example. I'll help you out. In sixth grade, Miss Harris, Miss Harris was let me give you an example because maybe you're confused. In the sixth grade, Miss Harris was snatching papers from everybody in the classroom. So me as a 10-year-old, I went to the principal and said, I'm tired of Miss Harris snatching papers, and I organized the students around getting Miss Harris to stop snatching papers. Now there was a consequence for that. I got suspended for 5 days for talking back, and I got in trouble, got a spanking, and I was on punishment for months and months. But that is a simple way of organizing people. So I want you to kind of boast about it the way you did the millions of dollars and said what you did with the pharmaceutical companies. What leadership can you point to that you've been able to rally anybody around anything that is of service that you did not pay anybody to do? I think that's important for the next president of the United States.
Sure. So I've always been drawn to healthcare. That's why I ended up founding companies in that space. When I was in high school, part of what drew me into it was that I was a volunteer at a local hospital. I actually became the leader of that group of volunteers that actually discharged women who had recently given birth. That was it. Nothing big to it.
Did you do anything we can point to stand out?
But I want to say something about that because I say that in the book. If I'm being really honest, why did I do that in high school? A part of the motivation, I'll be just brutally honest with you, was part of the motivation was that's actually what allows you to get into a good college when you graduate.
Right, so it was about you. So it was about self.
So there's and I'm admitting that in a way that very few other people do, but I got to be honest about it. That was a big part of why I did it.
Yeah, it was about self, and I'm going to be honest. And I'm going to give it back to the guys. I'm going to be honest about it with you.
Yep.
Leadership is not about self.
I agree with you on that.
What I just heard is that everything is about you. And to be honest with you, this is just a PR campaign, sir. To be honest with you, and I think you're trying to go further to the right because you want the Republicans to accept you as a man of color. And I think the only way you think you can do that is to be so extreme
I appreciate your opinion.
with your positions. And I think you need to do a little bit more work in service. I'll give it back to the guys. Let me test
because she did ask me a question, and then.
I'm gonna stop it right there. If you guys want to watch the rest of this video, go to the Breakfast Club channel. You can watch it. It's a pretty good interview. He goes on to bring up some very good points. But I gotta make this note here because, God, the way she just handled this interview was annoying, and it's a testament to why black people continue to lose. So first off, this man is running for president of the United States, and they are wasting his time talking about shit that doesn't fucking matter. We got China creeping up on the daily. We got complete chaos at the southern border. All right? Interest rates are through the roof. The economy is in shambles. And they want to go back and forth with this man about service. What have you done for the people? Yada, 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 yada. See, black folks got this savior complex that we need to shed. America was founded on meritocracy and capitalism. Meaning, everything you do has to be rooted in trying to win. And the people around you on your team need to be rooted in trying to win. If you're not rooted in trying to win, you will lose in America. Hence, the black community. This man is talking about running for the president of the United States, and you're asking him about free service. There is no president to this date who has led a life like that. None. Yes, some of them may have done pro bono work here and there and there, but they do it to get to the next level, to gain favor in order to accomplish their goals. That's how a meritocracy works. But like I said, America's got much bigger problems. This guy's the number 3 candidate on the Republican ticket, and they're asking him stupid shit about the city council. The city freaking council. And they want to talk about service. Now, some stats just came out recently, right? And as a black alleged scholar or whatever the hell she is, debater, I don't know what she is. She must be of some political significance if DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God had to run to her to fight Vivek. So she must be on some status. The fact that she doesn't once bring up the stats that I read earlier are crazy. Now, what are those stats? The stats are that 90% of the workers, that's right, 90% of the workers of the recent unemployment spike are black. 15% of the population and 90% of the unemployment or the unemployed workers of the recent spike, yo, what up, Gilded Quan, are black. They're black. But you want to grill a presidential candidate about the 8th grade student council? Let me get to this fucking article real quick. Let's read this article. Look at this shit. Black workers comprise 90% of recent unemployment spike. Data shows. This is under their boy, Biden. A new Bureau of Labor Statistics report published Friday found that black Americans make up nearly 90% of those who are unemployed in the U.S. since April. Black workers made up 267,000 of the 300,000 new unemployment cases this spring, the report says. The current unemployment rate of the demographic sits at 6%, nearly twice the rate of white employment, which sits at 3.1%. And they want to sit up here. They want to sit up here and argue about stupid shit. See, these are the same people that try to tell you that your biggest issue as a black person in America is police brutality. Or a white man coming and shooting and killing you or some shit. No. That's one of your biggest problems. 90% of the recent people laid off since April are black. And we are 15% of the population. Every single day in the black community, niggas are getting shot and killed. Basically mass shootings. But this is not the shit that the Breakfast Club brings up to a potential president. They want to ask this nigga what he was doing in the 8th grade. Fucking stupid. But anyway, I don't know, man. This shit just kind of shit's fucking crazy to me, man. These niggas want to talk about the student council and all this dumb shit. And who is this chick supposed to be? The next Tamika Mallory? The next Patrice Cullors? Bro, this shit is a joke, man. Same old play ran on us over and over and over again. But anyway, man, what do I know? Look, whether you agree, you disagree, or you're indifferent, do me a favor, leave a comment in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, and select all. For myself and the rest of the crew here at Trippin Ain't Easy, peace out. Catch you on the next one. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up.
Blood clot.
Don't forget. Trippin Ain't Easy. But somebody's got to do it. I say we got a couple more people coming in the chat. I don't know if anybody wants to call in. But I think we're just going to go and shut it down. We're going on 2 hours. Also, don't forget Tulum, Mexico, August 6th. And then we got Labor Day weekend. Oh, hold up, y'all. Daryl Quick's in the building. Gilded Quan's in the building. Let's go. Hey, look, y'all niggas let me know real quick. I will put the link in the chat if you guys would like to join the conversation. Let me know. I've been talking shit by myself for 2 hours, but I can talk some more shit if I got others involved. So I'll post a link. I'll pin it to the top. Y'all niggas want to join the chat, let me know. I'll give you 2 minutes to get your asses in here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to fill up my cup real quick. I'm going to fill up my cup, take a drink, see who we got coming in to continue the conversation. If not, we'll close it out. We'll do it like that.
Any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting common is when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving, and pretty soon we're going to be calm this country.
All right, that's what's up. I don't think we got nobody coming in. That's cool. But listen, thank everybody for watching. Like I said, once again, we got Jungle Juice Tulum coming up August 6th and also Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend is going to be crazy. If you got the time off, come on down to Jungle Juice Weekend in Tulum. We have activities planned for the whole weekend. Pay us one price. You in everywhere. And if you don't believe me, you don't believe me, I'm going to close out the show like this. Jungle Juice Tulum. This is what we on, man.
All right, we're going to do the American version now. Up to it, down to it. Fuck those who don't do it.
Gotta do what I gotta do.
We do it because we used to it. Turn up.
All my exes live in Texas like I'm George Strait. Or they go to Georgia State where tuition is handled by some random nigga that live in Atlanta that she only see when she feels obligated. Admitted it to me the first time we dated, but she was no angel and we never waited. I took her for sushi, she wanted to, so we took it to go. Told him don't even plate it, and we never talked too much after I blew up. Just only hello, happy belated. And I think I texted her and told her I made it. And that's when she texted me and told me she prayed it. And that's when I texted her and told her I love it. And right after texting her and told her I'm faded, she asked, whatever I learned since getting richer, I learned working with the negative to make for better pictures. I learned Hennessy and enemies is one hell of a mixture. Even though it's up, girl, I'm still f***ing with you. Damn, is it the fall? Time for me to revisit the past. It's women that call, there's albums to drop, there's liquor involved, there's stories to tell, we've been through it all. Yeah. Interviews are like confessions. Get the f*** up out my dressing room, confusing me.
I tell you this, Jungle Juice is the place to motherfucking be. Jungle Juice is the place to be for real, y'all. Beautiful woman, beautiful man, whatever you want, all the good vibes, all the good music. Good ass food.
And I say hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. You're right, alright, and we say hell yeah.
Jungle Juice is the place to motherfucking be.
If you were worried about where I've been and who I saw, or what club I went to with the homies, baby, don't worry, you know that you got me. I'm never worried about where I'm at or who I saw, or what club I go to with the homies, baby, don't worry, I know that they got me.
This is the place to be, Tulum 2023, Jungle Juice.
Holla.